Okay, hi again everyone. We're Calc 3 notes. We're on section 12.2 about vectors, and we're on page 7 of your notes where we're talking about vector algebra operations. So if I have two vectors, let's call it u and v, has components u1, u2, u3, and v1, v2, v3. And then we have k, where k is any scalar, so not a vector, just a scalar, a real number. Then if I want to add two vectors, I simply add their components. And if I want to do a scalar multiplication of a vector, I need to multiply that scalar k times every component that's in the vector. Okay, so for example here on example 6, let's say we have the vector u, which is minus 1, 3, 1, and the vector v, which is 4, 7, 0. We want to find the components of 2u plus 3v. So here's 2u plus 3v. If I write it out in terms of the component form, I have 2, here's the vector u, plus 3 times the vector v. So I first do the scalar multiplication. I bring in the 2 and multiply each component of u times 2. 2 times minus 1, 2 times 3, 2 times 1. And for v, I bring in the 3 and multiply each component of the vector v by 3, as you can see. That gives me minus 2, 6, 2 plus 12, 21, 0. Then I want to add these two vectors, so I just add their common components. The first component, minus 2 plus 12. And the second component, 6 plus 21. The third component, 2 plus 0. To end up with the vector 10, 27, 2. So that is 2u plus 3v. Let's say I want to do subtraction. Well, subtraction is simply just adding a negative 1 times v. So we don't really need to write plus minus 1 times v. We'll just write minus v. And that just means subtract the common components. So minus 1 minus 4, 3 minus 7, and 1 minus 0. To end up with the vector minus 5, minus 4, 1. Okay, so I want the length in this third part of this example 6. I want the length, right? The absolute value signs indicate length. Length of the vector 1/2 u. So here I'm writing 1/2 u in component form, keeping my absolute value signs out there, looking like absolute value signs that mean length now when I'm talking about vectors. First of all, I multiply each component by a half, so I get minus a half, 3 halves, and 1/2. And then to find the length of any vector, I square each component, add that up, and take the square root. So negative 1/2 squared plus 3 halves squared plus 1/2 squared. It gives me the square root of 11 fourths, which is the square root of 11 over 2.